I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, January the 12th. And boy, it's hindsight 2020. You look at the severely lower feeder cattle, cash feeder prices we've seen coming really on the middle part of this past week. And you think, gosh, we should have seen that coming. You know, the feedlots are slam full. Our wheat pasture is completely played out. It's been bitterly cold, but also very dry in all of our major production areas, and you just figure that that's probably coming down the line. We've got this major drop off as we go from April live cattle on to our summer months, and it's just everything's lining up for these big feeders to be sharply lower in the calves too, which that's mostly what we have. But you look at the board on Thursday, February live cattle was actually up 20 cents to end the day at 117.07. April was up 20 cents also at 118.87. March feeder cattle down 85 cents to end the day at 141.37. And your March contract is now the lowest traded feeder cattle contract shown on the board. January spot feeder cattle down 55 cents to end the day at 143.82, but actually that's not a whole lot of a discount to what our cash feeders are now. And I know I sat here and told you that I thought you were going to see a run up in your January feeder cattle contract to try to get close to what cash was, because I didn't see the cash feeders dropping off that much. It's just, you know, there were several reasons for them to drop off last year many times, and we thought we were headed for a wreck, and we just kept finding this demand and more rallies coming. Just every time we thought that it was going to tail off, we kept finding another rally last year. Maybe we finally ran out of them, but you know, I sure thought that it would, but I'm a whole lot better with reporting history than I am trying to figure out what's going to happen. I was heavy on Alabama minus the 4 also, so I'm not very good at picking stuff out. But we've seen weather this week, another storm, and a little bit of moisture, but it's just enough moisture to make things miserable. It's not enough moisture to help anything. If we could get a thick blanket of snow over the wheat pasture areas and then just kind of let it sit there and soak in, that would be the best thing in the world for it. But there's just not enough moisture in the air to let that happen, and just enough to put a thin glaze of black ice on the roads. And about all we can get in the plains and in the lower part of the Midwest, but some heavier snows again up through the northern parts of the country. But you look at your fat cattle trade this week. Remember, we opened up on Monday. We should have known something was goofy whenever we opened up and started selling fat cattle on Monday. Pretty good slug of them on Monday. Another pretty good slug on Tuesday. We had more trade than what we thought on Wednesday. Almost 12,000 head sold in the 5-area feeding region on Wednesday, and that was mostly the dress trade at 192. But so far now for the week, we've had 80,500 head in the 5-area feeding region. That's probably enough. It looks like most everybody's got cleaned up, although it wouldn't surprise me to see guys sell, you know, somewhere around that 119, 120 on a few deals here on Friday. But we've sold enough to kind of keep things rolling along, and it looks like your packers have kind of bought what they need to keep going now that they've gotten through the holiday slowdown and start back up, and things are kind of leveling out now. Although we've got a holiday this coming Monday, the board's not going to be open Monday because of federal holiday. But basically your fats on a live basis also 120, and dress basis was all at 192. But we've got some heavy supplies of feeder cattle still coming down the line. Talking to a friend of mine up in Nebraska now, he says every sale up there in Nebraska, you know, a lot of times they run every other week or kind of gang up with a special one week, and then maybe just have some replacements or kill cows on an off week. But next week, about every sale in Nebraska is going to have a good run of cattle. Even your smaller sales that don't normally get heavy runs are going to have big runs. And you know, I think all of us just underestimated how much of an effect it was going to have us having that big calf crop last spring, and significantly bigger than what we'd had. It was just time to build back up. You remember when we had the record prices here 3 or 4 years ago? Guys were just selling those calves and kind of catching up on things. They hadn't been making a lot of money. They were making some repairs, buying some equipment that they needed to do, and they didn't want to pass up that big price. And then after those record prices leveled out, then whenever they sold some calves here, in the last year or two, they said, well, I don't really want to take that for my heifers. They brought so much more the year before. I'm going to keep back some more heifers, and they did, and they're still coming. But it's a big old country, and there's a lot of cattle in it, and they're still coming, especially right through the heart of the Midwest there. You got a lot of farmer cattle coming to town, and we've still got a lot of them to sell. But you look at your slaughter for the week, 472,000. That's 7,000 more than the same week a year ago. Your actual dressed steer weights for the week ending December the 30th come out. Your actual dressed steers average 902, which is still a big, and it's bigger than a year ago, but down a pound from the report that come out the week before. But look at some feeder markets. Your real-time index on Beef Market Central, based on the 800-pound steer, was down another $1.41 to settle on late on Thursday at 146.31. Some of your big markets, and I hated to pick on OKC West, but it was just the best test of the market that we've seen since we started the new year, and they were so much sharply lower on Wednesday. Well, your Thursday sales in the plains and going up into the Midwest, both Pratt and Salina, the northern and the southern sales in central part of Kansas, they were sharply lower. You see, Pratt had feeder steers called $10 to $12 lower, feeder heifers $8 to $10 lower. You look at that market report out of Pratt, just over 3,000 head there. But on Cattle Market Central, this automated report pulled right from the block on your popular weights. 534 head of 7-weight steers averaged 750 at 141.14. 726 head of 8 weights averaged 849 at 138.13. And for the most part, your yearling feeder type steers are selling more in the 30s than they are in the 40s or in the 50s that we saw not that long ago. And we've really took the edge off of these feeder cattle prices. You look at Salina, they had 3,000 head plus there, and the trend on those feeder steers and heifers sure look $5 to $10 lower. Look at an individual quote at a sale that I was actually at in Kentucky at the Paris stockyards. They had a good run of cattle there, and see some of the pictures I took there. But at 10:45 in the morning, they had 64 head of steers, weighed 745 at 148.90. Paris, Kentucky. That's your feeder flash for Friday.